Heyo! Welcome to the second course for the song Ride from the 2015 album from 21 Pilots called Blurryface. I'm musically malnourished. You're on my journey to go deep and wide in discovering new music and artists. Here we are going to take a deep dive into the lyrics. So you're welcome to go watch the react to that song, but this is where we're going to go see the substance, the meaning, and a little bit more about it. So Genius.com has this to say about Ride. Ride is about the journey of life. Throughout the song, Tyler's lyrics indicate he feels like dying is easy, but finding someone or something to live for is life's challenge or ride. The song contains heavy reggae influences, called that. I mean, it's pretty easy to hear. Bum, 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 bum. I know it sounds more like the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. Wait, I can't even get that right. Okay. The song also contains callbacks to various 21 Pilots songs, including Heavy Dirty Soul, Lane Boy, and Ode to Sleep. Lane Boy? Oh, okay, that's further on in the album. That's more of a call forward. That's a foreshadowing. During their performance at Crocs, KROQ's Almost Acoustic Christmas concert in 2019, Tyler shared a story about the song. The chorus was just an idea. It was something I had hidden away. And I showed Jenna, his wife, the song. I didn't know if she would even know what I was trying to do with it. She said, "I like that Ride song." And I was like, well, first off, it's rhyme. She said, "No, it's not. It's Ride." And I said, okay. So I finished the song. I recorded it, released it, and it's become one of my favorite songs that we've ever put out. I'm wondering when they say, first off, it's rhyme. So if you were to replace the lyrics, so I'm taking my time on my, no, I guess maybe change some things with it. I'd be curious why it was called rhyme. Maybe we'll see as we get into the lyrics in a minute. Does the song utilize any alliterations? Yes. Lines like pieces of peace in the sun's peace of mind. Yeah, that was a very cool line. Make use of heavy alliteration as well as the use of a homophone. Hey, let's grow our education here. Homophone. Homophone? Different meaning. Tire. Car wheel. Tire, fatigue. Oh, okay. Word that's pronounced the same as another word but differs. Oh, my face is in the way. A word that's pronounced the same as another word but differs in the meaning and may differ in spelling. The words may be spelled the same, such as rose and rose. Okay, got it. Which is also what makes the American language really confusing to non-English speakers, which I get. Yes, there is. Tyler uses the sun, a ride, and bullets as imagery in the song. You can find detailed analysis of each by clicking the links. Oh, we shall. Okay, got another music video. Man, they were in full-on music video mode at this time. Well, even over in Vessel, which is great. Says, I just want to stay in the sun where I know it's hard sometimes, pieces of peace in the sun's peace of mind. I just want to stay in the sun where I find pieces of peace in the sun's peace of mind. I'll be curious because obviously knowing Tyler's Christian upbringing, sometimes he uses, if not always, sun as also S-O-N, as in Jesus. Because you do see, like, if you want to stay in the sun, you can still say, like, you have John 15 about abiding in him. If you abide in me, I abide in you. You can do nothing apart from me. That's like staying, abiding in the sun, but also obviously the light of the sun, where I find pieces. And I love this too, the honesty of pieces. Because even when we talk about like having peace. And even from a Christian perspective, that's why I think a lot of people are put off from blanket answers to things from well-meaning people generally, is God will give you peace. And that's true, but sometimes it's pieces of peace. It's not like, oh, well, all good now. It's like, no, I've got just enough peace, just enough strength to like take the next step forward. So I love that idea, pieces of peace. In the Son's peace of mind, like the peace of mind that you get from the Son, from Jesus. But let's see what this says. Whew, it's a pretty long one. Daylight can provide glimpses of comfort, a perpetual storm of confusion. Instead of having to face dark times and struggle with his doubt, Tyler would rather remain in the sun all the time. He'd rather be perpetually happy and confident with himself. References to the sun's warmth and light, offering comfort, appear in a few of the other songs. Sun could be a metaphor for God's Son, Jesus, who called himself the light. In me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart. I've overcome the world. These tribulations could be what Tyler refers to when he sings, I know it's hard sometimes. Tyler has also said in the past that night is when all his insecurities truly affect him. So this line is him begging for night never to come. Yeah, I think about the end just way too much, but it's fun to fantasize. On my enemies who wouldn't wish who I was. Before I click on this, and just bear with me as we work through it, because I'm try as much as I can to kind of see what do I think, what do I feel, and then look over to Genius to see like, okay, am I close? Does anybody else resonate with that? Not that Genius is always spot on, but I think about the end just way too much. So obviously there's that idea of like fantasizing about the end of life, especially if things are hectic or crazy or hard. It's interesting because even the Apostle Paul in the scriptures, he says, like, I don't really know, do I want to stay here or do I want to go on? Because he faced a lot of hardship. In Corinthians, even talks about like, I was beaten this many times and shipwrecked and put in prison, and I know what it is to be hungry and cold and all these things, beaten with rods. And so obviously his pursuit of sharing the gospel also brought a lot of persecution and difficulty. And he's almost like, it's honestly, if it's better to kind of move on from here and go be with the Lord, but I'll remain here for your sake, like to continue to be helpful. So it's just interesting. Like I think about the end just way too much. But on my enemies who wouldn't wish who I was, I feel for me what that's saying is like how you talk about I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, is he's almost saying like the way in which like what I deal with and what I feel and what I think about and all that, like I wouldn't want to wish that on an enemy, on my enemies who wouldn't wish who I was. Like they don't want to be me. But it's fun to fantasize. Oh my gosh. Okay. That just put it together for me there. So yeah, like they don't want to be me, but it's kind of fun to fantasize that maybe they would feel what I feel like, because obviously like with an enemy, there is a part of you that's like, I wish that they, especially if somebody's hurt you, right? You're like, I want them to feel what they made me feel. And that's kind of what he's saying about it's fun to fantasize that maybe they can suffer the way that I suffer. That's interesting. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think it means a whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm fallen, so I'm taking my time on my ride. I'm fallen. I don't know. I'm curious what this says. The ride is a metaphor for his life, much like how life is often referred to as a journey, while falling refers to the negative thoughts in both verses. In most of 21 Pilots songs, falling usually means to fall away from faith or be consumed by doubt, or it could just be this tumbling down of like the blurry face getting the best of you. Taking my time on my ride is about life. Tyler knows death is coming for him, so he might as well live while he can and enjoy the life he has. I'd die for you. That's easy to say. We have a list of people that we would take a bullet for them, a bullet for you, a bullet for everybody in this room. But I don't seem to see many bullets coming through. See many bullets coming through. Metaphorically, I'm the man, but literally, I don't know what I'd do. I'd live for you, and that's hard to do. Even harder to say when you know it's not true. Even harder to write when you know that tonight there were people back home who tried talking to you, but then you ignore them still. All these questions, they're for real. Like, who would you live for? Who would you die for? And would you ever kill? My goodness. There is a lot in here. Okay, well, because this I'm trying to figure out. I don't seem to see many bullets coming through. It seems to me, I guess at first glance, it's this idea that it's kind of an empty statement, right? Like, I die for you. And that was even in an earlier song on a different album. But the ability to be like, I die for you is almost an empty statement. Because when it comes down to it, like, who would you live for? I guess when rubber meets the road type thing, like when there's the reality of actually having to take a bullet for somebody, whether that's literally or metaphorically. Like, some people will say, I die for you, but they won't even call you or text you or go to lunch with you or help you move or whatever it might be. They're like, man, I got you. But then when you call upon them, they're not there. It seems to me like he's kind of speaking to this emptiness of that. Because he does say, like, but the reality, I don't see many bullets coming through. So it's almost like we haven't really been able to put that to the test, or that saying I die for you is an easy thing to say. Because listen, the reality is how many times in your life are you going to actually have to physically die for somebody? For most of us, not. And never. So metaphorically, I'm the man, but literally, I don't know what I do. So yeah, he does seem to be speaking to this. I say I die for you, but literally, I don't know what I do. I live for you, and that's hard to do. Even harder to say when you know it's not true. Okay? You got to love how honest Tyler is. See, this even harder to write when you know that tonight there were people back home who tried talking to you, but then you ignore them still. So this idea, I'd live for you, but you're still ignoring someone. So again, it's almost this emptiness. So these questions are for real. Like, who would you live for? Who would you die for? And would you ever kill? But let's hop through here a little bit. I don't want to spend a ton of time here because I think we kind of nailed that down, but let's see if we're missing anything. Be easy for him to die for someone. Finding someone to live for is the hard part of life. He previously shared suicidal thoughts on songs like Heavy Duty Soul. Death inspires me like a dog inspires a rabbit. When we went through that song, we didn't really define that line as a self-harm. So I don't know. This doesn't really resonate with me. We have a list of people. We would take a bullet for them, a bullet for you, a bullet for everybody in this room. While some people have a simple, I'd take a bullet for you list, Tyler's list extends to the whole clique. Okay. Because I know, again, a lot of Tyler's music is written for the live audience. So you guys have talked to me pretty extensively about that in the comments. And so the idea of him writing and singing this to a room of people does take on a different context. He wrote this knowing he would be singing it while touring. The room refers to a concert hall. The lyric ties into track 6 on the album, Lane Boy, but let's backtrack back to this. Who would you live and die for on that list? That's cool. But I don't see many bullets coming through. In reality, having a chance to literally take a bullet for someone is quite improbable. So Tyler looks at it in a different way. Instead of dying for you, he's going to live for you, which is harder because you have to live for someone with actions, not just words. So yeah, that's kind of what we're getting at. Taking a bullet is a metaphor for giving up some part of his comfort or happiness in order to ensure that of the people on his list, and that the last line he clarifies that although he can say he will be there, he doesn't know what will happen. If a situation like that actually came up, it's simply too extreme to imagine. Like, yeah, your best intentions would be. If you're not willing to live for yourself, you can't live for anyone else. For those suffering from depression, it's relatively easy to say you take a bullet for somebody, but to say that you'll live for someone is much more difficult. Wow, that's really deep. Taking a bullet for someone is a one-time demonstration of your love for someone. Living for someone is much harder, as it requires you do things every single day to show them that same love. It may also be a reference to his faith. Both Tyler, Josh, are Christians. It could be a reference to how hard it is to live for God. For example, it's hard to do, especially when you know you won't, as you would be lying. There were people back home who tried talking to you. So these lines address that feeling of wanting to talk to somebody, but being unable to dedicate your attention to them, which in essence, you're not living for them. So yeah, you simply don't dedicate any attention to it at all. Tyler has said in an interview that sometimes on tour, he doesn't have as much time as he would like to talk to the people he cares about. He'd get a call from his family or friends back home and would press ignore because he didn't have time or energy to talk to them. I know what that life feels like. You probably do as well. Tyler's not talking about killing another person. He's talking about killing self-harm or Blurryface killing his dreams. So what he's really saying is, would you let your demons take over you? Song Lame Boy, Tyler says, I'm sorry if that question I asked last scared you a bit like a hazmat. While his verse in Ride is also about who he would die for, the verse in Lane Boy is about who he would kill. Yeah, I mean, I can understand this. I think it also could be a little more literal if you're talking about like big questions. Is there anything like, who would you live for? Who would you die for? And you're talking about living and dying, like, would you ever be the perpetrator of those things, right? Is there anything that would cause you to take that step and that action? And I think, yeah, like, you bust up in my house at night, I'm prepared to throw down, to protect what matters to me most. So yes, there are things that would push a person to that place. Okay. I mean, the rest of this is pretty straightforward and repeats. Yeah, and I think that's how the song closes, right? I've been thinking too much. I think we can all relate to that. Well, thanks for joining me on this second course for the song Ride from 21 Pilots and the album Blurryface. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a conversation. And I hope to see you in the next one because we're eating good.